How's it going, folks? This is Aviel Leos from the Children's Court, coming to you live from Michigan Troll Studios, and I just had to do a spotlight on Tulsi Gabbard. She's been trailblazing inside this presidential race, and she's been growing on me every time I see her speak. Every time I see her sit down and have an interview, she speaks with such sincerity, logic, and reason, and she's one of the few Democrats that don't sound like a nut job. That's a very important factor here. We have a huge run. We have a packed race going on, and the majority of the Democrats seem to hate this country and hate the natives of this country, the citizens of this country. It's a breath of fresh air for one, and for two, she's got a lot of experience in different areas. She's been in the military for a significant amount of years. She's a major in that. She's been in the Congress for about 7 years. She still serves inside the military as I believe, National Guard or Reserves. It's one of the things I'm not paying attention that closely, but I'm intrigued. I'm impressed by her, and one of the big things that is catching me is that she's going on Fox News, and she is actually holding her ground and making it seem like we're having a real, actual discussion again, because she went on Tucker Carlson, and he had a smile from cheek to cheek the entire time, and his face was red because he didn't actually know what to say, because he usually brings these Democrats and leftists on his show, and he debates with them and makes them look like idiots, and this time she was just making so much sense that he could do nothing but agree with her. I thought that was absolutely insane. It was funny to watch him just sit there, and he looked like he was shy or something. It was really funny. And she's just went on Maria Bartiromo's show, and Maria Bartiromo, she obviously has respect for Tulsi's point of view on things, and not to necessarily mean that she agrees with everything that Tulsi has to say, but I never thought in my lifetime that I'd see a Democrat that could successfully reach across the aisle or reach to the other side and actually have a good faith conversation and a sincere conversation. So conservatives are kind of rallying behind Tulsi Gabbard. Do I think it's going to get to a point where she's taking on Trump amongst his own supporters? Absolutely not. There's nobody on the Fox network or any network associated to the right that's going to be swayed away from Trump by Tulsi Gabbard, because one of the biggest obstacles she would have to face if she ever even reached nomination, reached the height of being the nominee to face President Trump, she would have to get over the hump of he's already proven, he's already done it. So in my personal opinion, Tulsi Gabbard is just a Democratic version of Donald Trump. She's an American patriot who loves this country first, and has plans to make life better here before anywhere else. But Donald Trump's already on that job. He's in the office, and he's already proven that he's going to do what he says. So my dream would be that Donald Trump would humbly ask Mr. Mike Pence, to take a back seat, and so that he could pick up Tulsi Gabbard. At that point, I don't even think that there would be a need for an election. The support would be so ridiculously strong that no candidate from Barack Obama to his wife to JF Kennedy coming back from the dead could beat that tag team. The landslide would be so ridiculously out of control. It would be embarrassing for anybody. Kind of like Donald Trump did on his own. I don't necessarily think that he's not going to have a landslide, because he did the last time. The Electoral College was a disaster for Hillary Clinton. And let me explain something for some of you guys who still don't understand how Donald Trump beat her inside the Electoral College, or don't think it was fair, the Electoral College, and thinks that our votes don't count, and the Electoral College votes for the president. That's not necessarily the way it works. It works that way technically, but the popular vote is based on how many people vote for a person. The Electoral College is based off of the popular votes from all of the different states. So while it may look like more Americans generally across the country voted for Hillary Clinton, let's say inside the last election, it was just mainly California, which is much more densely populated with people, in New York and Boston and places that are coastal cities where there's a massive number of illegal aliens and immigrants and people in general. So if California and a few other Democratic strongholds vote for the Democrat, it's going to look like the popular vote goes to the Democrat, when in reality, if you look at the electoral map and you count all the other people that matter inside the country, it's red. The whole entire electoral map is red because the popular votes in the majority of the states went to the president that's in the office right now. So if California tipped the popular vote generally across the country in favor of Hillary Clinton, then it's not representing the country as it should. And I think that that's something that should be fixed, because people are still walking around today talking about Hillary won the popular vote when the majority of the country voted for Donald Trump, and literally it was a landslide. And so the Electoral College doesn't just make whatever decision they want. Generally, I assume that in some states that they can, but they generally vote with their state. And so Donald Trump won that in a landslide. He won the Electoral College, which is the one that matters anyway, inside a landslide. And I know I'm kind of getting off topic here, but I just want people to understand what I'm talking about when I say he, beat Hillary in a landslide, and when I'm saying that Tulsi and Trump together would be even worse. Sorry, I went on a tangent there, but back to Tulsi. So yeah, she is actually becoming a folk hero inside the Conservative Party. That is crazy, that she's actually being oppressed by the left, the elite establishment, the people who want Warren, Biden, and Kamala Harris to be the top tickets. In reality, Tulsi Gabbard is these people shouldn't even, or wouldn't even be mentioned in the same conversation with Tulsi Gabbard. None of them have the lightning or the electricity that Tulsi has on that stage, and none of them even speak on the level that Tulsi Gabbard speaks on when she's talking about just things that matter to the American people. So it's weird that she's being lifted up, she's being raised up by people that are bipartisan, and by nature, I think people tend to try and put conservatives inside a box of just right-wing, party towing the line type of behavior, because that's what the left does. We don't actually do that. This is why we tend to lose in a lot of these wars, these tugs of wars for power with the left, because we don't all agree with each other. We don't all have a hive mind. We all actually think independently, and conservative views they play a part into that. So we're conservative, and we believe, and we have morals and values and things of that nature. That's what makes us a party. And I think that Tulsi Gabbard actually has a lot of those same morals and values, and so when she comes over to the right side of the conversation, she's getting a fair shot, and people like Tucker Carlson and Maria Bartiromo are giving her a fair shot because she's making sense. It's not just, you're from the left, screw you, we're not going to deal with you. If anybody from the right went over on the other side and had a conversation with a left radical liberal, Morning Joe or something like that, Rachel Maddow, it wouldn't be the same kind of conversation. It would be very hostile from the beginning. So it's just funny watching Tulsi Gabbard have to go to the other side to get a fair chance because, again, the elite, they've got her at 1% in the polls, even though she's the most popular person on the stage every time the debates happen, even though people are most interested in her in big politics, she's still at 1% behind Elizabeth Warren, who nobody actually is talking about. Joe Biden, who's only still being talked about because he's getting dragged and jumped by every woman inside the debates every time they happen. And Kamala Harris, who got destroyed by Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard should be prosecuted for murdering Kamala Harris inside that last debate. Literally, they should put her on trial for the murder she committed on that stage the other night. So, yeah, these three people are not actually in the running for this presidency. I think that the people who control the Democrat Party, the same way Bernie Sanders got ripped off last election, are going to push their big three and try to make that look like an exciting runoff for the presidency. These three people were literally born to do this job. They were raised to be the president of the United States and take orders from bureaucrats globally. So they generally were generally educated on how to give our country away and make it look legitimate. One thing I have to say about Tulsi is the reason why she would fail at challenging Trump is because Trump is one of the greatest patriots in American history, and she gets on a national stage and calls him essentially a traitor, saying that he's working with ISIS while he's actually trying to gut our government of deep state actives and globalist insurgents, for lack of better words. It's insane for her to come from that angle, and we're not even attacking her on that as far as when she goes on right wing shows and things of that nature. We're kind of trying to pick her brain on the bigger issues that matter. That one's kind of political banter, you know what I'm saying, throwing mud. But I still think that it makes you look bad, and you're definitely not going to win over any conservatives talking like that about, again, one of the greatest presidents in history. To me, the greatest president in the history of this country, and you're trying to call him a traitor. That's one of your worst ideas, one of your worst moves that you've made today. I would say get rid of that really quickly. I heard she's had some less than agreeable views on guns, but I largely think that she's gonna go with the American people. I think she's really sincere in that, in the same form that Donald Trump is sincere in what he wants to do for the American people. So I don't want to make it go too long, as I always say after I go for like 20 minutes, but I think I'm missing a few things actually, but I'll get those inside another video if I make another one about Tulsi. I'm almost sure something will come up in which will prompt me to get on here and speak about her again. I just wanted to just get on here and express how I feel about Tulsi 2020. It's a real contender for the nominee as far as the public believes, and it really sucks that she's inside of a party that will never let her get that nomination. They'll never do it because she's too independent and too patriotic. She's too nationalist. She's not going to call herself that because being a nationalist is like equivalent to being a terrorist now inside left-wing media. It doesn't really make too much sense, but she's not going to. She's already stated that she wants America to keep the United States to keep its sovereignty, and she's not willing to hand it over to globalist bureaucrats that'll govern our country from Europe. You know what I'm saying? So that totally X's her out for president as far as the DNC is concerned. So I feel bad for her because she's actually doing a good job. And even though I don't think she's going to get any of the MAGA supporters to turn on Donald Trump, I would say that conservatives are rooting for you, Tulsi, so keep it going. I would like to see her face off with Trump inside a head-to-head debate. Some conservatives probably wouldn't. Some would probably fear that she would be able to sway too many people and actually take the presidency. Again, I would like to see her be the vice president. I think at very least that, if they were able to go head to head, she would impress Trump and he'd ask her to be inside his administration somewhere like he did with Ben Carson. She definitely deserves it. I mean, this woman is something else. And again, she went across party lines to speak to us. She came on the Fox News network to have a real conversation. Blasio and Hannity just had a food fight on his show. It was totally ridiculous. Hannity got dragged by Mayor de Blasio. Arguably the biggest joke inside the presidential race. Just handled Hannity like a UFC fighter. It was embarrassing to watch. And I watch Hannity every night. I never would have expected or thought that de Blasio could get on there and put him in the figure four leg lock and the sharpshooter and make Hannity tap out the way he did. It was truly embarrassing. I think the rest of the Congress will come and talk to Hannity now. They probably have zero fear that he's going to break any walls down or anything like that. He held himself up terribly. I can do another video on that if I choose. I don't want to let that take too much of the Tulsi shine. So I'm going to leave it right there, guys. I've been talking too much, and I think I might have missed some points that I wanted to get to. But I needed to speak about Tulsi. She's making such a big impact inside this run for the presidency. I think she deserves more conversation. Yang... Listen, I just had a 3-day war with the Yang gang, and they were fuming, pissed at me. But listen, before I end the video, I just wanted to say, Tulsi is a more sincere candidate. She's less of a gimmick. Yang, he didn't take his time to speak in the debates seriously. All he did was keep throwing up $1,000 a month. To me, that's a gimmick. I don't think that you took the debate stage serious enough to sway me into wanting to look into you more. A lot of his supporters said, hey, you should look him up. You should learn more about him. And I'm like, I didn't have to look up Tulsi. She made everything clear that she wanted to get across on the debate stage. So, without getting into another Yang video, I just wanted to say, listen, she has that flair. She has that electricity. Yang, it's almost like he's just seeing if it'll work. You know what I'm saying? So that's the last chapter of my Yang fight with the Yang gang. And I'm just going to leave it right there, folks. Tulsi 2020, if Trump wasn't running, she would definitely be the person I was looking at for president. But the president is in the office now, and he's doing a great job. Who knows, though? Tulsi's a smart lady, and she's saying some serious stuff that resonates with the American people. Anything could happen. I'm going to leave it right there, folks. I'll talk to you later. Peace.
Black country, young rebels, revolutionaries fighting for what's right. Your thrones are too high, you need to come back down to earth with real people. you fall, we still see you. You're lost, we won't leave you, I promise that. What the hell does it mean to act your own age? I said forget what's sin, I make my own wave. Prodigy went to his grave, trying to save you niggas from yourself, black contra men are brave.